not listening. I'm just folding laundry.
Okay.
Just be yourself and just say what you know.
Okay. Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk about abdominal strength, some exercises that you can do for snowboarding or snow sport or any type of weekend warrior, and the importance of those things. Before we get started, my name is Mark. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I'm on a team with my wife. We are a mobility duo. Check out our apparel. I don't know if you can see that. Website in the description. We are healthcare professionals and athletes working primarily with athletes, specifically snowboarders. So let's get started. So today, if you haven't already seen our Instagram, I kind of go over briefly the same exercises. Today in this YouTube video, I will be talking primarily more in depth on how to do these. Not necessarily more correctly, but essentially why and how they are helping you in your performance. So why is it important to strengthen your core? You actually are working your core every day, all day, whether you know it or not. You know, this can be whether you're sitting at a desk, whether you're walking, whether you're driving, etc., etc. When you're performing an extreme sport like snowboarding, skiing, soccer, running, anything like that, your core is being activated at all times. Again, whether you may know it or not. If you have been on a mountain, at least early in the season, all day, you understand very well at the end of that day or the next day how sore you can be because your core is constantly being activated. Like I said, today in this video, I want to show you a couple of exercises that you can utilize that are specific for kind of snow sport athletes, specifically with that separation and rotation movement, keeping that core activated, and that long sustained endurance that you need when you're on the mountain. So, to answer your question, we are strengthening our core primarily for that rotational purpose, as well as that endurance to be able to sustain that throughout the day and protect that spine. So let's get started. Okay, move number one, I call this the reverse Superman. So essentially what we're doing here is we're strengthening our posterior chain. So that starts from my lats down to my glutes, and in between I'm moving my arm and my leg in a diagonal movement, kind of like I'm squeezing them together. You'll see what I mean. Now what I'm doing is I'm strengthening those muscles that work kind of together. And there's a theory called a posterior sling. So you have an anterior sling that our bodies work in diagonal movements. So I'm working that posterior sling. What that means is I'm working those muscles kind of in those far corners that they work together. So in between that you have, your erector spinae, you have your multifidus, you have the fascia, you have a lot of muscles in between there that are all part of that core strengthening component. So it's not just that beach six packs abs, there's a whole backside to that. So I'll show you what we're doing here. We're doing 2 to 3 second holds up to 5 second holds at a time, and we're working in a diagonal movement. So first thing I do is I get on my stomach here like so. My arms are out in front of me like I'm Superman flying. Okay, I'll start with my left arm up first, right leg back. I'm squeezing my butt. I'm bringing my arm back in a diagonal movement towards my right butt cheek, okay? So I'm really strengthening my traps here, especially my low trap, my shoulders, my lats, my glutes, the muscles in between. So here we go, 5 second holds. Okay, and then switch arms and legs. Okay, and you can just switch back and forth. So again, the key here, I'm moving at a diagonal back towards my right butt cheek and my left butt cheek. I'm not simply raising my arm up towards the roof. Okay, one down. Okay, next one, I call this one a yoga plank. So, a couple of components here. We have that sustained endurance for our core strength. So we're maintaining that core strength at all times. The key with the plank is to have protracted, or my shoulder blades are out. I'm not pinching the shoulder blade together. I'm pushed out at all times, and I'm maintaining a slight posterior tilt of my pelvis, so I'm squeezing my butt cheeks just a little bit, okay? Keeping my abs nice and tight. At the same time, I'm gonna add a rotation component in there, reaching up towards the ceiling, so I'm really stressing my thoracic spine. This is super important. I'm keeping my core tight the whole time, but at the same time, in snow sports, you're always rotating. You're, if you're on the mountain, you're constantly having that separation with your, your core and your glutes and your legs. So keeping that core tight, but also maintaining kind of that rotation, mobility, and ability in my movement. So here we go. Get in that plank position. My shoulder blades aren't down like this. I'm pushing them out using my serratus. Okay. I don't have a large arc in my back. It's nice and flat. My neck isn't down. It's not up. It's that nice neutral position. Butt cheeks are a little tightened. And then I'm getting up, adding that rotation up towards the ceiling and back down. You notice how I'm not shifting my weight tremendously. It's nice and even, keeping that core tight and back down. Nice loose transitions. All right, see how far you can go with that. Try it for a minute, see how you can go. So I try to make it as realistic as possible on the mountain. So how long are you riding for? Are you riding for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? I want you to do it. If you're gonna do it, make it like it's game ready. So if you're on a run on average for 2 to 3 minutes, try to see if you can do that for 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay, number 3. This one is a reverse plank. So essentially, it's the same thing as a plank, but you're flipped on your back. So a big one for this is we're activating our glutes while also keeping our core nice and activated as well. So it's a little weird. It'll seem awkward, but it's all the same principles. The big thing for this one though is that makes it difficult is keeping that core or those glutes activated. If you don't, you won't be able to stay up on your heels. So same thing, I'm trying to stay nice and straight, almost parallel to the ground. It's hard to keep your neck in that nice neutral position, so you might have to jet it out just a little bit. But this one's tough, so let me show you. Weight is on both of my elbows here and my bottom heels. So I'll turn around. My arms aren't too out far from me, they're kind of close to my body. Heels are on a nice shoulder width apart. And when I go up, pushing through my heels, keeping my core tight, keeping my bottom nice and tight as well. It's the same thing. See if you can make it to a minute for 60 seconds. This one's tough. Pro tip, you might want to put something under your elbows, like a cushion, a towel, anything like that, because you're going to be digging down into the ground, and you'll make it a lot more comfortable. So give it a try. Okay, number 4, last one. So this one I call the Superman plank. So the first one was simply the Superman. This one is just a little bit harder version of that. So you are using the plank, so everything that we talked about in number 2, but this time we are adding that posterior sling strengthening while you are in the plank position. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm here, I'm about to go in a plank position. Now you can do this on your elbows or you can do this on your hands. I'll show you first on the elbows. So again, keeping those shoulder blades poked out in front of me, keeping my bottom nice and tight, core activated. I'm raising the opposite arm, opposite leg in that diagonal position. Nice smooth transitions. And then back. And I'm shaking. This one's tough. And then you can even try that on your hands. So here. And then you can go back down. You can make this as hard or as easy as you want. Okay? Okay, so one thing I want to emphasize is you don't need to keep your core activated at all times when you're riding on the mountain. You know, if you're running, if you are playing soccer, yes, your core is activated, but as far as max activation, it's not completely necessary. You do these movements and these strengthening exercises to prepare for things like catching an edge or, you know, getting caught off guard with bumps and things like that, or getting ready to throw a move or some sort of rotational move or jump or anything like that. So, you know, the key here is being able to have that endurance to ride the entire day and not injure yourself, as well as keeping that spine protected at all times. Whether you may think about it or not, your body is working 100% of the time. So those are the kind of important aspects that I want you to get from this. But please do not think that you need to keep that plank position and core activation 100% of the time for the 9 hours that you're riding, because that's not realistic and you would literally be Superman. So yeah, that's it. If you have seen any of these, please let us know. I'd be curious, just because they've always kicked my butt. So if you have, just comment below, let us know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Again, we put a lot of time into this, so please subscribe if you have the time. Otherwise, we'll see you later.